Hello, and today I'm going to be showing you some hand stretches for artists that can help you get over some problems with your hands cramping or having many problems with when you're drawing. You notice there's tension. You don't feel as you draw as if you can draw as smoothly or have that flow with the way that you draw lines as you used to have. Now, these stretches are just going to be very basic, but I will get into more advanced stretches later on. And I'll probably be making more videos on stretches for artists and different stretches that you can do for the rest of your body. But for this video, what I want to focus on is just showing you the stretches first. I'm not going to get into too much depth about the difference of what part of the muscle is stretching or the bone or any ligaments or any of that. I'm just going to show you the stretches and how they work for me. And then later on, if any of you have any questions about the stretches that I've done, how this affects the hand, what muscles it's stretching, what tendons and everything else, I can make other videos that will be separate from this, specifically for those details. But for now, let's go ahead and take a look at the different hand stretches that I have that will help you with dealing with hand pain from drawing or painting. So, the first stretch that I like to do with my hand is to take my thumb, I place it on the inside of my palm here, I put my other fingers over this, and then once I have my hand in this position, I bend my wrist down. As I do this, I feel a stretch in my thumb that goes through my wrist and stretches down into my forearm. Now, if you're having a lot of problems with drawing, and you notice that you have trouble when you're holding your pencil and cramping there, this will help with that. I actually had an injury at one point to this thumb. It was when I was working out. The machine I was on actually was not able to hold the weight that I was supposed to be able to do, and the machine actually collapsed on me, so I actually had a problem with this thumb and the tendon which I had injured. But anyways, back to these stretches. So this stretch, as I said, it helps stretch this part of my hand and down through my forearm. Another stretch I like to do is much more simple. Is you can just stretch your hand like that without having your thumb placed underneath it. Just have your hand that way. And then, as you're doing this stretch, hold it for about 30 seconds as your hand is down, and then release. And you don't want to do it to where there's too much pain. You don't want to try and force the stretch. I've seen some people try to do this stretch and they feel a lot of pain when they do this. If it's too painful to do a stretch and you actually feel like really bad pain that hurts too bad, then start out with an easier stretch. For example, if this one is too painful, just start out with bending your wrist that way. And then you can work your way up to having your thumb underneath and doing that stretch. You can also do the stretch by taking your thumb that way and moving your arm up. You'll feel a stretch more on the inside underneath the wrist as well. And if that's too painful, you can bend your wrist just that way. And a stretch that I like to also do for my wrist is the part of the wrist that bends in this direction. So as I'm doing it, I take my hand and I just bend my wrist that direction to the left, and I can also bend my hand to the right some. And then I can go down and up as well. So this is going to help you for when you're resting your hand a lot. It's always in that fixed position. There is a bit of motion in your wrist going left and right, and sometimes we forget to stretch that as well. So just stretch that direction and then the other way. Now, another way you can do the stretch is to put the thumb in the palm, your hand facing up, put your fingers above that, and then bend your wrist to the left and right. And I notice when I do this stretch with my thumb on the inside, and I go like that with my fingers above it, covering my thumb, I'd feel a very good stretch in my side of my thumb there above my wrist. When you do it, go slow. You don't want to go really quick. So just put your hand like that, then slowly go to the side. And then you can go down and then up and to the right. Now, if you want a really good stretch for this, you can take your thumb, place it on the inside, put your fingers over it, and then as you stretch to the left, like that, as so with your hand, also bend your wrist back, and you'll feel a stretch on the bottom part, and then the side there as well. Now, another stretch I like to do, is very simple, is I just take my hand, And I spread my hand out as far as possible, all the fingers like that. I'll do that for about 3 seconds, and then I relax. And then 3 seconds, and then relax. And when I'm doing this, I can also rotate my hand this direction. So you want your arm in a position to where it's more like a 90-degree angle, or just on the table in a relaxed position, or you can have your arm out. Just make sure that when you're doing this, your shoulder isn't forward, and that you're not doing anything that makes the rest of your body uncomfortable, or makes this stretch not useful, and that you're causing pain in other parts of your body. So now that I've done the stretch like that, I can now turn my hand facing down, and I can do that stretch as well. Another stretch for your fingers would be to take them, and once you have them like this, you can just simply lift one of the fingers up, hold it for a few seconds. You can hold it for about 10 seconds, and then relax. Move to the next finger, hold that one up for 10 seconds, and then relax. And then do this for all of the fingers. One finger that for some people might be it feels strange to try and move only that finger up is going to be that one. And then move to the next one, and do the same thing with your thumb. And also, if you want to stretch these even further, you can take your hand and move the finger back. Now what I'm doing here is my other fingers under this palm, I have them under there, and then I'm just pressing upward. And remember, do not push too hard, just push enough to where there's a stretch. Now as you can see, when I'm doing this, I'm stretching the fingers on this side downward, and I'm also stretching this finger upward. So I'm getting 2 stretches in one, so I can get twice as much done. Then I can move to the next finger, and then the next one, and so on and so forth. And then with the thumb, you can do the same as well. But with the thumb, it's a little bit different. You can have your hand like this, and then what you want to do is press outward like that, pressing down and pressing this away. And then you can also take your thumb and bend with your hand like this, bend the thumb back slightly, and be gentle as you're doing this as well. And be careful not to press too hard. And then you can do the same direction. Just bend the thumb that way. Which does get me into another stretch that is similar to what you're seeing right now. Now with your hand like this, you can help the dexterity of your hand and the flexibility of your palm and everything by taking your hand like this and just pushing everything together, stretching all of the fingers. Now, I've done this quite a bit, so my hand's able to flex this way a lot, and I can flex it the other direction. And that's just, from drawing for so many years, I've got to have flexibility in my hand so that I don't get any cramps. And then the next stretch we can move to is stretching between your fingers. So I just have my hand here. There's different ways you can do it. You can have your hand under, like this, or above. The easiest way is just to have your hand like that, and to stretch between the fingers like as so. And then just do each of the fingers. You can hold them for 10 seconds, and then move on to the next one. And then another stretch is to just take each finger individually and to press down on that finger to stretch it. And try to hold each of these for 10 seconds, and then move on to the next finger. And don't forget to do this with your other hand. Don't only do it with the hand that you draw with the most, because we often forget about the other hand that we're using because it's not the one doing the drawing. Make sure you stretch that one as well, because a lot of times when you're drawing, that hand is pressing on the paper, or it might be in really awkward positions while you're painting or drawing, and it's the one that we tend to forget. So make sure you stretch both of your hands and not just one of them. So another stretch I like to do is stretching all the fingers at once. And what I do is I take my hand like this, and I will have my hand facing down, and then with my hand downward, I take my other hand and I pull all of the fingers back to get a stretch on all of them. Now what you want to do when you're doing this is try to keep your palm flat and only stretch the fingers. And then you can hold that for about 10 to 30 seconds. And then another stretch is a variation of that, is to do the same thing, but also to bend your wrist. So you're bending everything in the fingers, and you are also bending everything in the wrist at the same time. So you are doing multiple stretches at once. And then as you're doing this, you can then even take each finger and let go, or take that finger and bend it downward. And also remember as you're doing this to not apply the same amount of pressure as you're moving to stretching less fingers, because you don't want to hurt yourself. My hand feels better already. So those are some of the stretches that I know at the moment. For before I start my drawing, I like to do these. Sometimes I even do it between my drawings. If I have a drawing that's longer, maybe it's an 8-hour drawing, and I want to get some stretching in between. Now, when I'm drawing, I always take a break every hour to get up and eat, get a drink of water. I'll do some of my hand stretches, and that helps alleviate any problems that I have as well. But these are some of the stretches that I have at the moment for my hands, and I will be doing some tutorials and showing you some different hand stretches and exercises for your hands and the rest of your body to help all the artists out there that are having any problems with stress in their hands, tightness, or anything else. But this is just a quick little tutorial on that, and I will be going into more depth about this in the future, such as all the different bones, the tendons, and all the muscles in the hands and the different parts of the bodies, for those of you that want to know more about the technical terms of it. But for now, this is just beginning basics of some hand stretches that I like to do for my doodles and everything else. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to, go ahead and share it with your friends. And if you have any questions or anything else about anything art related you'd like me to cover, anything you want me to draw, go ahead and let me know in the comments below, and I can get started on that as soon as I can. I've got a lot of videos that I'm editing and working on at the moment, so if you do have a suggestion, it might be a while until I get to it, because I have pretty much thousands of videos to edit and to work on. But anyways, just go ahead and let me know what you think. If there's any stretches you would like, any drawings, any reviews, anything else, and I will do my best to try to cover that as soon as possible. And until then, I hope you found these hand stretches helpful, and I hope they really help you out. And I will see you in the next video, and you have a good day.